So today's lesson is going to be on reflecting shapes. Yesterday we looked over translating shapes, and today we're going to look at reflecting shapes around a coordinate grid, because all GCSE questions have the shapes reflecting coordinate grids, not just in a blank piece of paper, and describing reflections using mirror lines. It's important that, again, we don't just draw mirror lines in. We've got to know the equations of them, because at GCSE, that's what we want. So let's begin. So first thing we can do is understand that shapes can be transformed by reflection. It's a bit like a mirror image of something. So if you think about a mirror line and then the mirror image, the blue shape, it's reflected there. Okay. In order to describe a transformation as a reflection, you need to know what the mirror line is. You need to know what the equation of it is. So here we've got a shape which is 2 squares away on this side. So it's 2 squares away on this side. It's 3 squares away on this side. So it's 3 squares away on this side. And if you look at this one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares away on this side and 6 squares away on this side. So it's everything is the same distance from the mirror line. We've got to know, like I said, the equation of the mirror line. So let's just have a look at some mirror lines and investigate them. So if we've got the line y equals 1, it looks like this. It cuts through the y-axis at 1. So that's why it's y equals 1. Every coordinate on this line has got a y coordinate of 1. And if we make it y equals 2, you can see the same thing, so straight across through the y-axis at 2. Then you can see the same thing happens if you make it go through at 3, y equals 3, y equals 4, y equals 5. You can go down to this line here. You say y equals 0, so it cuts across through the y-axis at 0, but also it's the same thing as the x-axis. So that's the second way you can describe that one. And it can be negative as well. So here y equals minus 4. You've got your line cutting through your y-axis at minus 4. And you can do similar with the x-axis. So now we've got x equals 1. It's cutting straight down through the x-axis at 1. X equals 2, 3, 4, same sort of thing. If we go back to 0, you've got x equals 0, so it's cutting through the x-axis at 0, but that's also the same as the y-axis, so that's got 2 names. And it works the same way with negatives. And so what we've got here is a way of describing the reflection by giving the equation of the mirror line. So the previous question had the mirror line about here. So in order to describe that reflection, you'd have to say the mirror line is x equals 2. If you just drew the mirror line in or pointed an arrow to it, that wouldn't be enough, so you've got to give the equation. And remember, it's this line going straight down, it's cut through the x-axis at 2, so it's x equals 2. Right, so now let's have a practice of finding some shapes and reflections. So find the shape as a reflection of L in the x-axis. So this is the x-axis. There's shape L, and you can see that H is the reflection there. You know, it's 1 below, that's 1 above. This is 2 above, that's 2 below. So it's shape H. Shape N in the line x equals 2. So x equals 2, remember that is going down through the x-axis at 2. So there's our mirror line, and it's shape N. So there's shape N, and if we're going down here, well, it's not going to be O, it's going to be P, because this is 1, 2, 3 away, and that's another 3 away, so shape P. And M in the line y equals minus 2, so going across through the y-axis at minus 2, so that's our line y equals minus 2. And shape M is down here, so it's one of these. Okay, so it's something above, obviously. Is it going to be E or is it going to be I? So let's just count the squares. It's going through here. This one is 1, 2, 3 away. So if we count another 1, 2, 3 away, yeah, it's shape E. It's not shape A, that's too far away from the mirror line. So it's shape E. those. Great. Okay, and the next thing. So to describe reflection, you must state what the mirror line is. So we have got to choose some options this time. So shape P to shape M. So let's try to do it without the options first. So P to M, it's straight down the middle here. Now to find a mirror line, you can just see what's in the middle of the shapes. So from here to here, the middle is clearly the y-axis, which is also x equals 0. So let's see if that's an option. Y-axis is an option. K to O. So the mirror line's here, because this is where the middle is. And it cuts through the y-axis at -4. So I'm going to say that line is y equals -4. And shape O to K. Well, that's the same thing, isn't it? Shape O to K, y equals -4. It's important to know that if you translate one to the other, transform one to the other in reflection, it's the same if you want to transform it back. Let's just check those. Got them right. Great. Okay, next. So copy this grid and draw out these reflections. And we want to click some buttons to see some answers. So we've got to reflect shape A in the x-axis. So there's shape A, there's our x-axis. So it's going to be down here. Now the way you do it is there's one square down, so you draw another one square down. So you can put a mark there. Here another one square down, another one square down would be there. And you could do the same here. It's 4 squares above, so you go 4 squares down. So this is going to be what the shape is, looking like that. So let's just check we're right. Yes, we are. Next, shape B in the y-axis. So there's shape B. This is the y-axis. Again, we're going to count squares. 1, 2, 3, 4 squares away. So it's going to be another 1, 2, 3, 4 squares on the other side. This same one here. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares away. So you go 7 squares away this time. So it's going to look like this. This is what the shape's going to look like. And yeah, that's right. Next, reflect the shape C in the line x equals -4. Now, it's always worth actually drawing in your mirror line when you get a question like this, because you get some marks for that sometimes. So shape C in the line x equals -4. So the line going down through the x-axis at -4 is here. Here's your mirror line. So other side of the mirror line, it's going to look like this over here. Right, then shape D in the line y equals -5. So y equals -5, cutting through the y-axis at -5. And shape D, well, it's touching it there, so it's still going to be touching it there. And it's just going to look like that shape, but upside down. Okay, so that's how to draw some reflections. Next, we're going to have a look at reflecting in a diagonal line. Now, 99 times out of 100, if you have to reflect something in a diagonal line in your exam, it's going to be one of these two equations, y equals x or y equals -x. And these lines you kind of just got to have memorized. So y equals x line is this one. Okay, so it's diagonal, starts bottom left, goes to top right, goes through the center. And at every point, the y coordinate and the x coordinate are the same. So you can see here at this point in the line, you've got 2, 2. You can see at this point in the line, you've got 4, 4. You can see at this point on the line, you've got 6, 6. You can see at this point on the line, you've got 8, 8. And the same with the negatives. Okay, so it works the same in the negatives, the positives. That's the line y equals x. You've got your other line, y equals -x, which is diagonal again, going through the center again, but it's starting top right and going bottom left now. And the x and the y coordinates are the same number, but different signs. So here you've got the x coordinates -2, the y coordinates 2. X coordinates -6, y coordinates 6. X coordinates 4, y coordinates -4. So same number, different sign. So you've got to know those two lines. Okay, let's have a look at how to reflect in those shapes. So we've got to reflect the shape A in the line y equals x. So the line is going to be here. I'm going to just put the answer on so I can talk about how to actually do it. So you might get the shape in roughly the right position, but what a lot of people do is they draw it pointing the wrong way. And the way to do this is just be counting squares diagonally to the line and then carrying on that count. So here, this corner, you can see is 2 squares away diagonally. So if you do the same here, 2 squares diagonally, that's where to draw that corner. If we look at this corner, count diagonally to the line. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 squares diagonally. Let's carry on a count of 4 the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how we know to draw that line, that corner. This one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. So we got a half, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. If you do that with all the corners and then just join the shape up, it might look a little bit strange, but you've done it right if you do that. Okay, don't just try to count 1 square. Okay, that's where 1 point is, and try to just draw the shape out because it's pointing a different direction when you've reflected diagonally. And similarly for this one, if we just count the squares, so here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4.5, a half, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. Same for this shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5, half, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. Okay, so that's how we draw these reflections in the diagonal lines. Okay, so have a go at the homework now. There'll also be a video to help you go through the homework if you need it. And also today I've got that sheet of number questions for you to do. So if you complete your MyMaths homework and just submit that, and then actually photograph and turn in your number worksheet, then that's what you need to do today. Okay, thank you.